LEGO Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga has changed in the past few years whilst it has been delayed. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the differences between the 2022 gameplay and the previous years of gameplay. There are some details from my previous video that you might have missed, so I wanted to point them out, plus give some extra context and explanation. And make sure you do subscribe so you don't miss any future LEGO Star Wars videos. Let's get to 100,000 before the game does come out. Let's start by taking a look at this shot of Luke and the binary sunset. Evidently, the lighting of the scene has changed. It's far darker, there is more of a shadow on Luke's face, but some people might not have noticed because of heavy compression on YouTube that Luke's torso has got more dirt on it, even around his neck and his arms as well. Taking a look at the duel on Mustafar, you can see that Anakin's eyes have been tweaked to be more in line with what we actually get in the real LEGO Star Wars minifigure of Anakin on Mustafar. It's not just all big yellow Sith eyes now, you do get the rings around his eyes and it does look a lot better. Next up, this scene with Darth Vader has changed dramatically compared to the 2019 Countdown trailer. Evidently, it's much better in 2022. The lighting, the character model, the whole scene is far superior. I'm really happy they've managed to tweak this scene because it looks fantastic in 2022. Kylo and Rey's duel has been changed in terms of its colour correction. It's got far more contrast and it's less green. I do like this change personally. Another scene that has received a dramatic change is this one of Princess Leia giving R2-D2 the Death Star plans. From the Countdown trailer to the 2022 gameplay trailer, you can see that the scene is just much better. It's got a lot more detail. Interestingly, last year in the Lucasfilm game sizzle reel, we did get this version of the scene, and it's basically sort of in the middle in terms of its progress. It's better than the 2019 version, and it includes her with the hood. You can't see much of the background, and it's different to the 2022 version. Another colour correction change has been made to a Rey and Kylo scene, and as you can see, the colours in the background specifically are a lot more muted. It's not as red. I prefer how it looks in 2022 because of the red, but it could just be the angle of this specific shot. There could be a whole host of different reasons, and both of these sort of might be in the final game. On to some Hoth gameplay, and if you take a look at the Snowspeeder, there is some snow on the left-hand side that isn't present in the 2022 version, but that might be because you've not got low enough to where there is some snow. As we know, there is going to be a weathering effect, so I wouldn't say this is a downgrade yet, because you might not have touched the snow yet and it won't have appeared, but you will notice that the stud shooter now actually has a red stud in the shooter specifically, which was not present in the previous version of the game. Also, the blaster fire is a little bit different, it's less pale and a little bit more pink. The Rancor has increased in size. I know quite a few people did point this out that originally the Rancor was too small compared to how it is in the film, but it was more accurate to the actual LEGO Rancor. However, TT Games have made it much bigger, and you can see it definitely looks better. It definitely looks more true to how it would look in the film, which is great to see. The princess shoots with her right hand as opposed to her left in the previous version of this scene. However, it might just be because she was in cover. She could only shoot using her left hand because the cover was on her right. The colour of Rey's lightsaber has changed a bit. You can see that it's more of a light blue in 2021, but in 2022 it's got a little bit more of a purpleness to it. Some might say that the Praetorian Guards have different weapons, but these might not be the exact same guards, because there are others. The colour change made to the blue lightsaber is also visible in this shot with Luke and Vader, but more prominent in this one of Obi-Wan versus General Grievous. It's more light blue in 2020, but it's got a hint of purple in 2022. Luke now carries his lightsaber hilt on his waist in this Dagobah scene, which is great to see. The holo map has received a few UI tweaks, so the colour of the map is slightly different now. It could just be how they rendered out the video, but you will notice that the text in the top left corner has been changed, as well as the location of the galaxy map text. It's now more central and looks better, as opposed to being dropped down a bit just above the icons. A small detail you might have missed is the controller icons missing for the buttons in the latest gameplay trailer. This is because they're likely using something like a PlayStation controller to record this gameplay. Because Xbox have the marketing rights, they have to cover the icons up. This is something previous games have done. The light speed effect has been tweaked a little bit, but in the previous gameplay trailer you would see that it would go through the X-Wing. It's obviously a bug, but it has now been fixed, at least in this scene. This could be due to customization, but the sensor dish is no longer on the Millennium Falcon, at least in this shot from Empire Strikes Back. If you compare all three versions of the Millennium Falcon, you'll notice that the visual effects of the engine was tweaked in 2021 from 2020, but that has remained unchanged now in 2022. I wanted to include this shot to clear up some misinformation. Some people think this is a downgrade, but I wouldn't say it's a downgrade because it's different parts of the Endor forest. There's just less vegetation in this specific scene on the right hand side, and it's a different part of the forest, that's why. But of course I can't be 100% sure that is fact. In this scene of Coruscant it has less contrast and it's a little bit lighter in terms of the sky. It could just be the time of day being different, it might just be a little bit earlier in the evening. I thought I'd point out that it could be time of day because it is something to consider. This shot is easily one of the biggest changes made to the game as well. From 2020 to 2022, you can see this scene is lit much better. It's got far more contrast, it looks more realistic. Greedo specifically is really blown out here on the left hand side, but he looks much better. The reflection of the blaster fire is also improved greatly. The purple effect of the power generator is better in this new version of the game. You can see that on the left hand side it's got quite visible lines and it kind of is blown out. It generally looks worse compared to the new version, which is much better. Lastly, the visual effects of the X-Wing engines, at least this specific model, has been changed by the looks of it. It's no longer as long and it's a little bit more paler. Now, in the previous shot, even though it looks like it's going at the same speed, the X-Wing does shake a little bit more. Maybe they've just turned down the visual noise and such on that scene, or it's just the part of the trench run that is a little bit different. Maybe you go a little bit slower, they toned things down a little bit, and that's just why, but it could just be an artistic choice as well. Comment down below which changes were your favourite in this video. For me, I've got to say the Darth Vader scene and the Greedo and Han Solo shootout, they just look significantly better. Drop a like to help support the channel and subscribe so you don't miss any future LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga videos, and click on the playlist to watch any of the previous videos you might have missed, and I shall see you in my next video. Goodbye.